long-term foreign currency issuer default rating to B- with a stable outlook from restricted default on the 17th of June 2025. The IMF program is back on track with the successful conclusion of the fourth review by the IMF Executive Board on the 7th of July 2025, which immediately triggered the disbursement of $367 million United States dollars. Right Honorable Speaker, beyond the numbers, this is a story of sound leadership, better economic management, and a restoration of hope to a nation once in despair. Let me, on behalf of the President John Mahama, sincerely thank the people of Ghana for their trust, patience, and continued support. We do not take your sacrifice for granted. Mr. Speaker, this government did not come to simply manage the decline. We came to reverse it and reset our country. The gains of these first 6 months are just the beginning. Mr. Speaker, these early successes only encourages us to stay the focus, stay disciplined, and continue to do more for the people of Ghana. There is still a long road ahead, but our steps are now steadier. Our direction clearer, and the national spirit has been lifted with the gradual restoration of hope in our democracy. We have moved from promises to purpose, from ineptitude to action, and from distress to relief. Mr. Speaker, we have established policy credibility and restored credit worthiness. Right Honorable Speaker, the rest of my presentation will focus on 4 areas: macroeconomic performance for the first 6 months of 2025, the status of Ghana's debt restructuring, and the status of implementation of key government programs. Before I conclude, macroeconomic performance, Mr. Speaker, for January to June 2025. Mr. Speaker, the first half of 2025 has demonstrated our government commitment to economic recovery. Through prudent fiscal management, sound monetary policies, effective structural reforms, and strategic investment, we are laying a solid foundation for sustainable growth and shared prosperity. To put the assessment of the economy in the first half of 2025 in a proper perspective, it will be useful to restate the ambitious yet attainable macroeconomic target we set for ourselves for the year 2025. Mr. Speaker, we set for ourselves an overall real GDP growth of at least 4%, non-oil real GDP growth of at least 4.8%, end-year inflation rate of at least 11.9%, primary balance on commitment basis at a surplus of 1.5% of GDP, and gross international reserves covering not less than 3 months of import cover. Right Honorable Speaker, I now take you to the real sector. Mr. Speaker, despite global economic uncertainties, Ghana's economy demonstrated robust growth. In the first half of 2025, the economy expanded by 5.3%, up from 4.9% in the same period of 2024, marking the highest first quarter growth since 2020. The agriculture sector led this growth with a remarkable 6.6% increase, about 3 times the growth in the first quarter of 2024. The agriculture sector growth contributed 26.4% of the overall first quarter growth. The fishing subsector grew the most at 16.4%. Mr. Speaker, the service sector constituting the largest share of the economy of 46.8% grew by 5.9% and contributed 47.9% to the overall first quarter growth, with information and communication technology leading the growth in the sector at 13.1%. Industry grew by 3.4% in the first quarter of 2025, contributing 20.6% to the overall first quarter growth. Manufacturing also posted an impressive growth of 6.6%. Right Honorable Speaker, non-oil GDP growth, the real sector, also picked up strongly, growing at 6.8% in the first quarter of 2025, compared to the growth rate of 4.3% in the same period in 2024. Importantly, Mr. Speaker, the non-oil GDP growth is the highest since 2018. It is expected that with the introduction of our 24-hour economic policy, the Big Push program, and the Agriculture for Economic Transformation program, the GDP growth will be sustained and possibly exceed the target of 4% for the year 2025. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to prices. Right, Honorable Speaker, we pledge to pursue the following to reduce inflation. We pledge to implement aggressive fiscal consolidation drive aimed at reducing the fiscal deficit and borrowing. Mr. Speaker, we pledge to stabilize the exchange rate to reduce inflation on items that rely on the exchange rate for pricing, such as fuel, transportation, imported sugar, rice, and cooking oil. We pledge to implement policies that target items with large weight in the CPI basket, such as transportation and utilities, to reduce their prices. We also pledge to implement, through the Bank of Ghana, to implement an appropriate monetary policy stance and use its liquidity management interventions to support the disinflation process. And finally, Mr. Speaker, we pledge to implement Agriculture for Economic Transformation agenda to reduce food inflation. Mr. Speaker, it is instructive to know that these intentional policies announced in the 2025 budget to tame inflation are yielding massive results. Inflation pressures have eased significantly. The drastic fall in inflation is not by chance or sheer luck, but as a result of hard work and deliberate government policies. Mr. Speaker, consumer price inflation has reduced from 23.8% in December 2024 to 13.7% in June 2025. This represents a massive 10.1 percentage point decline. Similarly, producer price inflation saw a sharp decline from 26.1% in December 2024 to 5.9% in June 2025, representing a steep decline of 20.2 percentage points in just 6 months. So, Speaker, food inflation declined from 27.8% in December 2024 to 16.3% in June 2025, representing an encouraging 11.5 percentage point reduction. Non-food inflation also declined from 20.3% in December 2024 to 11.4% in June 2025, representing 8.9 percentage point reduction. Inflation for locally produced goods and services declined from 26.4% in December 2024 to 14% in June 2025. Right, Honorable Speaker, inflation for imported items decreased from 18% in December 2024 to 12.5% in June 2025. These improvements are reflective of the effective fiscal consolidation, tight monetary policy, strong central bank reserves, and the appreciation of the Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, with this trend, we are focused and determined to achieve our end December 2025 inflation target of 11.9% ahead of schedule. Mr. Speaker, let me assure this House and the people of Ghana that things can only get better in the coming days. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to interest rate movement. Interest rates have declined, reflecting improved macro conditions. Mr. Speaker, the 91-day Treasury bill rate has reduced by 13 percentage points from 27.7% in December 2024 to 14.7% in June 2025. Similar trends were observed in the 182 days and the 364 days bills. The 182-day Treasury bill rate decreased by 13.1 percentage points from 28.43% in December 2024 to 15.34% in June 2025. The 364 Treasury bill rate also declined by 14.19 percentage points from 29.95% in December 2025 to 15.76% in June 2025. The average lending rate decreased from 30.3% in December 2024 to 27% in June 2025. Right, Honorable Speaker, the Ghana reference rate fell from 29.31% in December 2024 to 24.0% in June 2025. Mr. Speaker, things can only get better. Right, Honorable Speaker, we have indeed saved 4.9 billion Ghana cedis on domestic interest payment as at end June 2025 due to our prudent debt management policy. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to fiscal performance. Fiscal performance. Mr. Speaker, our fiscal discipline has yielded the needed and remarkable results so far. We have delivered below target deficit on both cash and commitment basis. We have delivered a greater than anticipated primary surplus, the core fiscal anchor. We have delivered a strong expenditure and commitment control. We have delivered robust tax revenue performance. Mr. Speaker, provisional data shows that the primary balance on commitment basis, the fiscal anchor, as at end June 2025, recorded a surplus of 1.1% of GDP, surpassing the target surplus of 0.4% of GDP set for the same period. The overall fiscal deficit on commitment basis was a deficit of 0.7% of GDP, better than the deficit target of 1.8% of GDP. Mr. Speaker, on cash basis, the overall balance recorded a deficit of 1.1% of GDP. This is significantly better than the projected deficit target of 2.4% of GDP. The primary balance on cash basis turned surplus at 0.7% of GDP against a projected deficit of 0.2% of GDP. The non-oil tax revenue, net, exceeded target by about 787 million Ghana cedis. Corporate income tax exceeded target by 555.3 million, representing 2.9% above target. Mineral royalties exceeded its target by 143 million. The Speaker, unfortunately, import duties fell short of target by 1.6 billion. Expenditures were contained at 109.7 billion Ghana cedis, or 7.8% of GDP. This was 14.3% below the program amount of 128 billion, or 9.1% of GDP, reflecting strong expenditure control. Mr. Speaker, primary expenditure on non-interest expenditure on commitment basis amounted to 84.3 billion, or 6.0% of GDP. This is an improvement of about 13.3 billion over the target of 97.5 billion, which is 7% of our GDP. Mr. Speaker, interest payment amounted to 25.4 billion, which is 1.8% of GDP. This is below the target of 30.5 billion, which is 2.2% of GDP. And this was mainly due to lower domestic interest payment. Domestic interest payment amounted to 21.6 billion against a target of 26.5 billion, representing a reduction of 4.9 billion Ghana cedis, mainly on account of lower than planned domestic borrowing and the decline in the T-bill rates. Mr. Speaker, external interest payment amounted to 3.8 billion Ghana cedis against a target of 4 billion, due mainly to the appreciation of the Ghana cedis. Other expenditure, mainly comprising energy sector levies, transfers and energy sector payment shortfalls, amounted to 11.4 billion Ghana cedis, or 8% of GDP. This was 12.7% below the target of 13.1 or 0.9% of GDP for the same period. Right, Honorable Speaker, arrest clearance amounted to 4.8 billion Ghana cedis. It is important to note that there was no build-up in arrests payable during the period under review, signaling strong commitment control and fiscal discipline. Mr. Speaker, we are very different from our friends that decided to flee from the chamber. Mr. Speaker, the deficit was largely financed from domestic sources, with net domestic financing of 13.1 billion, well below the 18.7 billion target. The net foreign financing was 2.8 billion, mostly from the utilization of the 4.5 billion IMF disbursement. Mr. Speaker, between 1st of January to 6th of January, the IMF disbursement of 4.5 billion was spent before the Mahama administration took office, just in 6 days. Mr. Speaker, project loan disbursement was 2.4 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, even though Ghana is relying on the domestic market for financing, we have borrowed less than we planned, signifying strong expenditure control and fiscal discipline. Right Honorable Speaker, this is a strong signal to the investor community and all stakeholders that the needed fiscal consolidation is happening here in Ghana, and it will be sustained. Right Honorable Speaker, Ghana is back on the international scene. Mr. Speaker, exchange rate development. Right Honorable Speaker, government commitment to implement the following measures to stabilize the exchange rate. Mr. Speaker, we committed to establish the Ghana Gold Board to enhance the generational accumulation of foreign exchange to support the stability of our currency. Mr. Speaker, we committed to pursue strong fiscal consolidation through the reduction in public sector spending and the fiscal deficit to reduce the pressures on the exchange rate. Mr. Speaker, the Bank of Ghana also committed to implement appropriate FX forward auction to support the stability of the cedi. And Mr. Speaker, finally, we committed that the 24-hour economy and accelerated export development program will boost local production and reduce reliance on export. Right Honorable Speaker, let me state emphatically that these deliberate policies announced in the 2025 budget to stabilize the Ghana cedi are yielding massive results. The results we are witnessing are not by chance. They are the fruits of hard work, discipline, and intentional policies. Mr. Speaker, the cedi performance in the first half of the year 2025 has been impressive. The Ghana cedi experienced significant appreciation against all major trading currencies in the first 6 months of 2025. I'm happy to inform the House that our previous record, where the Ghana cedi used to trade against the US dollar at 17, is as at yesterday trading at 10.4. Mr. Speaker, similarly, the Ghana cedi, which was once trading at 21 cedis to the British pound, was trading at 14.1 as at yesterday, 23rd July 2025. Mr. Speaker, as at end June 2025, the cedi appreciated by 42.6% against the US dollar, 30.3% against the British pound, and 25.6% against the euro. This is a significant improvement over the cedi depreciation of 18.6%, 17.9%, and 16.0% against the US dollar, British pound, and the euro. Mr. Speaker, I repeat, so far, we have almost reversed all the cedi depreciation in 2022, 2023, and 2024. This level of appreciation has never happened in the history of our country. Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, fellow citizens, Ghana cedi no apeke. Cedi no apeke. Mr. Speaker, these gains are largely due to strong fiscal consolidation, tight monetary policy, improved external sector balance, renewed investor confidence, positive market sentiment, credit rating upgrades, and successfully securing staff level agreement and subsequently the board level approval of the fourth review of the IMF program. Right Honorable Speaker, the cedi rebound signals that Ghana's economic foundations are once again beginning to firm up. Sustaining this stability will require continued fiscal discipline, supportive monetary policy, strong liquidity sterilization, robust reserve accumulation, supported by activities of the Ghana Gold Board and credible implementation of structural reforms. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to the external sector. Right Honourable Speaker, our external sector has shown remarkable improvement in the last 6 months. Gross international reserves reached $11.12 billion by June 2025, covering 4.8 months of imports, up from $8.98 billion in December 2024, equivalent to 4 months of import cover. Mr. Speaker, in just 6 months, even before the IMF and World Bank disbursement, in fact, without external borrowing, we have added $2.14 billion to the country's gross international reserves. Right Honourable Speaker, trade surplus increased from $1.37 billion in June 2024 to $5.57 billion in June 2024, representing a whopping 306.6% increase just in 6 months. Mr. Speaker, this was driven by strong export, particularly in gold, cocoa, and controlled imports. Mr. Speaker, the current account surplus improved significantly to a provisional $3.44 billion by June 2025 from $28.11 billion in June 2024. Provisional net capital and financial inflows reached $937.58 million in June 2025, indicating renewed investor confidence. So, Speaker, I take you to monetary and the financial sector development. Right Honourable Speaker, monetary indicators point to a sustained monetary expansion. Credit to the private sector increased by about 31.3% in June 2025. Reserve money growth moderated and M2 growth remained consistent, supported by increased deposit mobilization and improved net foreign asset. Net domestic asset growth slowed, while net foreign asset surged, indicating a shift in liquidity drivers towards external inflows. Right Honourable Speaker, I take you to the recapitalization of the National Investment Bank. Mr. Speaker, you may recall that I updated this House during the 2025 budget presentation on the restructuring and recapitalization of the National Investment Bank, our NIB, as one of the critical reforms in the financial sector that should have been delivered in 2024. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, after spending a whopping $30.3 billion in the so-called financial sector cleanup exercise, the previous NPP administration left NIB in dire straits with a capital adequacy ratio of a negative 53.13% by end of June 2024. Mr. Speaker, we have successfully, Right Honourable Speaker, President Mahama and the NDC have successfully recapitalized the National Investment Bank by implementing an ambitious and credible plan to return NIB to profitability and sustainability. Mr. Speaker, we have taken the following steps. Right Honourable Speaker, we have injected a total cash of 450 million Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, we also issued remarkable bonds with face value of 1.5 billion Ghana cedis to the National Investment Bank. Mr. Speaker, we transferred 500 million Government of Ghana shares in the Nestle Ghana Limited to the National Investment Bank. Right Honourable Speaker, these transfers have significantly improved the capital adequacy ratio from negative 53.13% at the end of December 2024 to a positive 23% in May 2025. Mr. Speaker, by taking these major steps, we have preserved depositors' fund valued at 6.4 billion Ghana cedis. We have also saved over 900 direct jobs at the National Investment Banks. So, Speaker, we have preserved an indigenous Ghanaian bank. But, Mr. Speaker, let me say this. Unlike the previous administration, we chose to spend to save a bank than spend to collapse a bank. Right Honourable Speaker, We have also prepared a forward-looking, overarching restructuring plan for the National Investment Bank to put the bank on a sustainable path of profitability. The plan also aims to enhance board independence and objectivity, strengthen risk management, promote accountability and transparency, prevent insider dominance, and improve strategic decision-making. Mr. Speaker, this plan will, among others, strengthen corporate governance framework and systems, improve enterprise risk management and controls, establish a modern business model, revamp operational strategy, improve financial performance, institute and enhance supervisory measures, and eventually we will list the NIB on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Right Honorable Speaker, NIB now has a total paid up capital of 3.4 billion Ghana cedis and a capital adequacy ratio of 23%. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the President, I want to use this opportunity to assure the people of Ghana and depositors that our indigenous bank, the National Investment Bank, is now prime for business. More importantly, Mr. Speaker, NIB is back. NIB is now liquid. NIB is now safe. NIB is fully capitalized. Mr. Speaker, we therefore encourage all and sundry to do business with the revitalized National Investment Bank, NIB. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to credit ratings. Credit ratings. Mr. Speaker, the progress we are making in our economic reforms and debt restructuring effort has been recognized internationally. On the 16th of June 2025, Fitch Rating upgraded Ghana's long-term foreign currency issuer default rating to B-, with a stable outlook from restricted default, the first time since 2021. Fitch cited significant exchange rate appreciation, declining debt levels, strong nominal GDP growth, increased reserve accumulation, and normalized relationship with external creditors as key drivers. Right Honorable Speaker, to sustain these gains, we will, among others, do the following. We'll maintain fiscal discipline through continued implementation of prudent policies to promote fiscal and debt sustainability. We will continue the aggressive revenue mobilization by strengthening tax collection systems and broadening the tax base to increase domestic revenue without overburdening the citizens. Mr. Speaker, we will accelerate structural reforms in public financial management, including transparency and accountability measures to improve efficiency and reduce corruption. Mr. Speaker, we will strengthen monetary policy framework, and the central bank will lead this to complement the effort that we are doing. Mr. Speaker, we will diversify the economy through investment in sectors beyond traditional export to reduce the vulnerability to commodity price shocks and continue to maintain strong relationship with our international financial institutions and development partners to support ongoing reforms and assess technical assistance. Mr. Speaker, it is expected that other rating agencies, namely S&P and Moody's, will follow suit, given the remarkable progress we are making in ensuring economic stability and promoting inclusive growth. Right Honorable Speaker, this is just the beginning. We are determined to do better than B-. Ghana indeed deserves better than B-. Right Honorable Speaker, I now take you to fiscal policies and give you an update. Mr. Speaker, I start with VAT reforms. Mr. Speaker, in the 2025 budget statement, we reaffirmed our commitment to the people of Ghana and the business community to undertake comprehensive value-added tax reforms this year. These reforms are aimed at addressing the distortions and cascading effect inherent in the current VAT structure. To support this effort, we also committed to seeking technical assistance from the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and engage the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to report that we have successfully completed our engagement with the IMF. Currently, the Ghana Revenue Authority, together with the Ministry of Finance, is undertaking a nationwide consultation process to sensitize key players in the trade and business sector on the VAT reform and solicit feedback from them. Right Honourable Speaker, the Ministry of Finance hopes to complete this process by September 2025, prepare a new VAT bill by October 2025, and submit same to Parliament as part of the 2026 budget statement. Mr. Speaker, I would like to reassure the people of Ghana that at the minimum, the following will happen as part of the VAT Act. Amendment Bill. Mr. Speaker, COVID levy will be abolished. The effective VAT rate will be reduced. The punitive cascading effect of the GET Fund and NHIS levy will be removed. VAT flat rate will be removed, and a unified VAT rate will be implemented. The VAT registration threshold will be increased to exempt small and micro businesses, and compliance will be improved through public education, awareness creation, and the introduction of fiscal electronic devices will be deployed. So, Speaker, I now take you to expenditure measures as part of the fiscal. Right Honourable Speaker, as part of the fiscal consolidation strategy, we have taken measures to sanitize public sector payroll and rid it of ghost names. Subsequently, we engaged the Ghana Audit Service to undertake a nationwide payroll audit across all 16 regions of the country. To speak, the Audit Service has completed 91% of the payroll audit. So far, the Audit Service has not been able to identify or verify over 14,000 workers. Mr. Speaker, again, they have identified 53,311 separated staff on the payroll. Mr. Speaker, separated staffs are staff who are either on retirement, reassigned, terminated, or are on leave without pay or deceased and yet remain on government payroll. Mr. Speaker, the Audit Service expects to recover a minimum of 150.4 million of unearned salary from the separated staff over 2023 and 2024 period alone. Right Honourable Speaker, going forward, we will enforce the monthly payroll validation process and strictly apply sanctions to all who validate ghosts for payment of salaries. Mr. Speaker, let me use this opportunity to strongly caution those who validate ghosts across the public service, that they will be personally liable for the loss of public fund. Mr. Speaker, let me repeat. Let me use this opportunity to strongly caution those who validate ghosts across the public service that they will be personally liable for the loss of public funds. Right Honourable Speaker, the Ministry of Finance will continue to monitor this payroll and put in place measures to prevent ghosts on the payroll going forward. Mr. Speaker, I now give you an update on the arrears payable audit that we did. Mr. Speaker, in the 2025 budget, we announced the launch of an audit of arrears and payables as at end December 2024. The Ghana Audit Service partnered with EY and PwC to undertake this audit. Mr. Speaker, the Audit Service was tasked to audit and validate 68.7 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, 68.7 billion Ghana cedis. So far, Mr. Speaker, 87% of the audit has been completed. Results show so far are as follows. Mr. Speaker, a total of 28.3 billion Ghana cedis has been validated for payment. Mr. Speaker, 27.3 billion is pending validation as we speak. Right Honourable Speaker, an amount of 3.6 billion Ghana cedis has been rejected because of errors, duplication, and non-compliance with PFM and procurement rules. The Speaker, of this amount, 562.6 million is without adequate supporting document. So, Speaker, the outcome of this audit will blow your mind. Blow your mind. So, Speaker, the audit is expected to be completed by end of August 2025. Once finalized, we will update the House on the findings and outcomes. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to update on the IMF program. Update on the IMF program. Right Honorable Speaker, Ghana remains on track on the implementation of the IMF program. A staff-level agreement was reached during the fourth review mission in April 2025, and we received executive board approval on the 7th of July 2025. This unlocked $367 million disbursement, bringing the total disbursement under this program to $2.3 billion. The fifth review, which is scheduled for September 2025, will be based on June 2025 data. Mr. Speaker, I'm comfortable that Ghana is on course to achieve most of the targets for the fifth review. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to public debt development. Public debt